Big welcome, everybody, to week 11 of the fantasy football season. We are getting close to playoff time, and normally, when we are this late in the season, you're not going to find anybody on the waiver wire. There is nobody out there who can help you except for this week. Brian Hill looks like that pickup, much like Damian Williams last year with the Kansas City Chiefs. But Brian Hill subbed in for Devonta Freeman, who we liked last week. We were advocating everybody go out there and give Devonta Freeman a start because we thought the matchup was going to actually be pretty good against the New Orleans Saints, and it was, but it was Brian Hill who went out and had all the production. He touched the ball 21 times for 70 yards, got a touchdown, and now he looks like the number one running back in that offense because, of course, Ito Smith is not there. The judge has been ruled out, pun intended. Devonta Freeman could miss a couple of weeks. And the only other player in that backfield who could possibly cede carries from him, Kenyon Barner. But really, this is all about Brian Hill. He was a running back that we loved when he was at Wyoming. He's not going to be one of those speed burners. Probably not as fast as, Lamar Jackson or anything like that. But we saw on Sunday that he could be highly effective. So if you've been holding on to a waiver claim all season, I know some people are in leagues like that, or if you're holding on to your fab budget, this is the time right now to make a move for Brian Hill. He could be somebody that, I'm not going to say league winner. Let's stop short of calling him a league winner, but he is definitely somebody who can help you get to the playoffs, maybe beyond, given the severity of Devonta Freeman's injury. And you know what? Perhaps the Falcons, even though their season is lost, can make a little bit of a run. We thought this team was very talented coming into the year. Didn't quite work out. I wish I wasn't as bullish on them. That is one I'm going to have to wear, I should say, not worry. It does worry me, I should say. But Brian Hill is going to be your top waiver wire pickup. Of course, if Darius Geis is still available on your waiver wire, that is another player that you could be looking at for this week. He is expected to return and be the bell cow running back. And if we've seen anything from Bill Callahan, he realizes that his quarterback sucks. And he's like, you know what? We're going to run the football. I think Bill Callahan is doing the bare minimum. He's like, really? I got to coach this team? Well, I like to get paid. My family likes to eat. And so he's going to go out there. And what he's going to do is he's going to run the football because he doesn't want to put Dwayne Haskins in a position to fail. The strength of the Redskins was supposed to be the defense, so hopefully they can keep the games close enough, grind it out, turn those 60-minute games into about a 30-minute game, which means a lot of opportunity for Darius Geis. So if he's still out there, also take a look at him. J.D. McKissic is another player who could be available to you. The Lions running backs, man, we really love Kerryon Johnson coming into the season, and then, the Lions happen. And then here we are. It's one of those situations. But the one thing that I really like is the opportunity again for J.D. McKissic moving forward. Ty Johnson is in concussion protocol. We don't know when he is going to be available to return. That means there could be more opportunities for McKissic, who, let's be honest, he's a passing down back. He's kind of one of those guys. He's a change of pace passing down back. But because of the injuries, he could end up seeing a majority of the work in the Lions' backfield. And this week, they've got a pretty decent matchup against the Dallas Cowboys, who have allowed the third most receptions to opposing running backs this season. That's partly because their defensive secondary is sort of good. We didn't quite see that on Sunday against the Minnesota Vikings, but you give an opportunity to a running back to go out there and catch the ball out of the ball. I guess their secondary was okay. But if you there's been a lot of checkdowns. The Cowboys' defense forces a lot of checkdowns, which means this could be an opportunity for J.D. McKissic to go out there and roll, especially if Matthew Stafford is not going to be able to play. Now, that was a last-minute surprise. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, Matt Stafford's out. Play the Bears defense. I was like, listen, here's the thing about the Bears. They lost to Brock Osweiler last year. They lost to Teddy Bridgewater. And Teddy Bridgewater is a pretty good NFL quarterback. He's better than probably the quarterback who's starting in Chicago, not telling tales out of school. But the one thing, though, is that with a backup quarterback, and Driscoll could play, because this injury, the micro fractures in the back, that doesn't sound good. And Matthew Stafford, your season's over. For the Lions, I should say. The Lions probably aren't going to the playoffs. I think that's a fair statement to make. Why risk it? Just relax, Have a good time. You're one of the toughest quarterbacks who've ever played this game. I'm a huge fan of Matthew Stafford. I've always enjoyed his game. I've always appreciated everything he's been able to do on the football field. I wish he was the Bears quarterback sometimes, but here's my thing. This doesn't seem worth it, but I don't know. And plus, the problem too, with the quarterbacks that you picked up during his absence, like you might have picked up Mitch Trubisky, we're not playing him on the road in Los Angeles. You might have picked up Daniel Jones. We're not playing him this week because he's on a bye. Oh, and by the way, why do the Giants always seem to have a late season bye? Them and the Patriots. Their buys always seem to be after week 8. I didn't fact check that. So somebody might be like, oh, actually, Frank, I looked that up. And it turns out to the end of week 5. Like, whatever. I'm just saying it seems that way. I don't know. Maybe I'll go check it out. Maybe I'll go give it a look. And we'll see what happens. Or, I'll have one of our researchers do it. Because I'm not going to look that stuff up. In any event, Geis, Brian Hill. Although Brian Hill would be one. Geis, because they're going to be playing with Dwayne Haskins. And by the way, let's throw one out for Terry, Scary Terry McLaurin. Man, that was a fun couple of weeks, Terry. I really appreciate everything you did out on the football field, but unfortunately, your time as a viable NFL receiver has kind of come to a close. By the way, are we concerned about Cooper Kupp? I know this is a waiver wire thing, but holy S, that was miserable against the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday. And I understand the Steelers defense has been playing great. Minkah Fitzpatrick has proven to be a godsend for the Steelers. A lot of people didn't like that move. They're like, why are the Steelers giving up a first-round pick for Minkah Fitzpatrick? That could be their quarterback of the future if this team, they're 0-3. This team could be tanking. They could end up with Tua. Like, who knows? Instead, they turned around, they get Fitzpatrick. He could get them into the playoffs. As a matter of fact, if the playoffs started today, they don't. But if they did, the Steelers would be in. They're currently the 6th seed in the AFC, competing against teams, of course, like the Oakland Raiders, the Titans, who are meh, the Jags, getting Nick Foles back. And speaking of Nick Foles, let's talk about some of those quarterback streamers, because, of course, Danny Dimes is out. We're not going Trubisky. Nick Foles is coming back to be the starting quarterback of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't like this move at all. I mean, I appreciate Nick Foles and everything that he's done, but I would not make him the starting quarterback. After what Gardner Minshew did, like that was a revolution. What are you guys doing? Gardner Minshew has been carrying you. I'm sorry that he had a bad game the first time he flew overseas. You know how tough it is to play those London games. What are you guys doing to him? And you know what? If you don't want him, send him to Chicago. We'll take him. Here's a 6th-round pick. Give us Gardner Minshew. If you're not planning on playing him, if you just want him to sit the bench, maybe we'll give you a 4th rounder. Who knows? Because we're going to get one back because we let Mike Davis go. So that means our compensatory pick for Adrian Amos is coming our way. So deal with that. Nick Foles. Also, Derek Carr this week wasn't necessarily lighting the world on fire against the San Diego Chargers. Like, who cares? Last week didn't quite light it up, but he's got a pretty good matchup this week. I do kind of like I like the Raiders. Again, they're on the cusp of claiming a playoff berth, so make sure you take advantage of him. If you need a wide receiver, Cole Beasley, because, of course, the Packers, the Giants, the Seahawks, and the Titans will be off this week. So Cole Beasley could be available on the waiver wire. He has scored 9 or more fantasy points in all but one game this season. So he's a viable option. I don't know why he's still available every week, but he's almost a lock for double digits. We talked about Nick Foles. Let's talk about Kyle Allen as well. There's another possibility. Again, the game in Green Bay, he was playing in the snow. I'm not going to fault him for that. Some of my tight end streamers. Jack Doyle. We told you he was one of our sleepers last week. Why were you not playing Jack Doyle? He has now scored double-digit fantasy points in 3 consecutive games. It's safe to start Jack Doyle now. We also like Mike Gesicki. I have Gesicki over Noah Fant. I think these are going to be 2 popular guys in the coming weeks. The only thing is Gesicki has played a season of NFL football. Whatever. I was trying to say, he's a second-year vet. Noah Fant is a rookie. It's so hard for rookie tight ends to come in and make a huge impact. We see times where it looks like, oh, Noah Fant could be a thing. But again, the quarterback situation in Denver is kind of meh. And they also have some questions too because Drew Lock had returned to practice this week. I think they have 30 days, or they've got a number of days before they get to figure out if they're going to activate him or not. I know a lot of you have recently started watching these videos who are friends of Brandon and That Good Sports. So we appreciate you. You probably know this better than I do. I would still go with Jasicki, but we thank you for coming in and checking it out. And your defensive streamers, we do like the Jacksonville Jaguars this week. Oakland Raiders defense going up against the Cincinnati Bengals. Cleveland Farrell had 3 sacks. Is that it? Can we now think that it was worth the 4th overall selection for him? I hope so, because I'm tired of the Raiders getting grief for that. Also, the Jets are going to be playing the Washington Football Club. Again, Dwayne Haskins will be the starting quarterback, so those are your viable streaming defense options. Of course, if you lucked out and got the Ravens last week, that's fun. There are some other good ones out there as well, but they're all on a bye. I know the bye weeks, they're so tough. It's bye again. In any event, thank you so much for checking out this video. We will have more stuff for you later. Good luck in Week 11. Hope you all win your games.